Just a big shout out to our patron supporters, Frederick, Dustin, Chris, Tyler, and Heavy Guns. Thanks again for all the support that you guys send. Helps us get a nice warm coffee, maybe some new paints, even a beer on game day sometimes. Also, check out our affiliate and sponsors, Baron Dice, Battle Bling, Monument Hobbies with Pro Acryl Paints. It's all on our link tree. Check them out. Check their sites out. They got some really good product. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Trident Wargaming podcast episode. I'm your host, Andy. With me today, again, I have Phil. How's it going, Phil?
Oh, good. Very good.
Good. And new to the podcast, Andrew. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
Happy to be here.
Awesome. So today, again, we're going to be talking some Old World. And pretty much it's going to be with the events that are currently going to be happening here in the city. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some conversation about what's going on, what the events are about, and how things are kind of popping off here lately in the last, I guess, few months with just a lot of hype for the Old World, right? So, but
still no dwarves.
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually in a good shape right now for dwarves. I found myself a large amount of dwarves from a friend of mine, so I got my work cut out for me. But
Nice.
Phil has just acquired.
And you say you picked up ogres too?
So I got ogres as well.
I did.
And I have.
I scooped Andy's 3D printed dwarves, so I got a good chunk of dwarves now as well.
Yeah, so
Nice.
Excited.
So as we're talking about this, it's going to lead us into the hobby time. So we'll talk a little bit about what we're working on. So I'll actually go first, considering I have been working on some stuff. So as of late, it's been some terrain actually. Right behind me, as you can see, there's some dwarvenish looking terrain. We were talking about it off screen and whatnot. So. Just getting that stuff kind of prepped a little bit for a couple of our Trident events coming up for AOS. And then sometimes have people reach out to us, if they need to borrow or use some terrain. So we'll have some kind of stuff like that. I finished the orc terrain, as you guys probably have seen. Turned out really, really good and awesome. I was glad that it was like 98% airbrush work. So, 2 days of working on that stuff and getting it done. It was like, this is awesome. I love working.
Did you have to do oil washes and stuff too, or is it because it looks really good so far?
No,
is that purely airbrush?
So there's no washes at all. All essentially majority of it was just pre-shading, contrasts, GW contrasts. Basilicum gray is the savior for me on those pieces of terrain. And essentially it's just getting the colors on and then just kind of amplifying them with some actual solid colors from the Monument Hobbies. Just amplifying like the red tops, making them a little bit richer, and then doing the stone work, brightening it up kind of thing. And then, so pretty much all airbrush with that. And then there might have been a couple parts that I had hit with the brush. And then the dwarf terrain is essentially the same thing, except end result is just give the gold a nice silver dry brush, and then give the stone, which is kind of a bluish, greenish tinge at first. But then I hit it with a nice light gray dry brush, and the stone just pops after that. So
nice.
But same.
Yeah, it's like the perfect style for airbrush too, like that soft, colorful palette, like World of Warcraft graphics. Yeah, it's like the perfect match. Yeah, it's really good.
Works out. I'm excited to see it on the board, and then I bought a whole bunch of boxes of actual trees. Can't remember what the company is called. I think it's Monster something. But anyways, they're essentially pre-painted, these plastic style cartoonish kind of trees, and you put the trunk out, right, the tree trunk, and then you slam the actual foliage on top of it, and then you can make them into...
Oh yeah, we saw some of those at the events.
Yeah.
Like the last event at GCC there. So those are cool.
The Gamescom.
Yeah. Those are nice.
Those. So I had bought a whole bunch.
Yeah, that was the first time I've seen those.
I had bought a whole bunch of them. I had some before, more of like the winter pine trees I had. Industrial Park Games had a few of them, but I got them Amazon, and just bought a whole bunch of double packs, and they set up with I think 6 or 8 trees per pack, so you can put them on multiple boards, right? So that, and then of course just trying to go through the collections that I went through and figuring out armies and trying to get some games in, of course. So
awesome. What did you get for ogres in your ogre bundle?
A little bit of everything. Lots of bulls.
Okay. Painted or unpainted?
So they're painted. They were, I think Scott Martin was blowing his armies out at the last bit swap, and couldn't go wrong with the deal that he gave me. So it was that, got that, and there's tons. There's more than 2,400 points in that box that I got. So
nice.
Okay.
Probably could make like 3 armies, maybe 4 armies out of what's in there. So fair bit.
Are you thinking dwarves or ogres for this month's event?
I'll be running ogres. Yeah, the dwarves, there's a lot of stuff to kind of go through. But I played a game with the ogres. They felt good. Felt fun to play. So I'll be getting some more rounds in that and then busting them out. And then also doing that, using them for our team for your event there, Phil, the Champions Call. So.
Oh, right on. Yeah. Sweet.
That'll be fun. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for hobby. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, but I can take over the podcast by talking about it all, so I'm not going to. Phil, yourself, what have you been working on?
Currently, I was making a bunch of stuff for Andrew's event here on the 20th, but then I shifted some list stuff around, tried some stuff. Some of the new stuff that I was working on. Sorry?
Back to a dragon.
Oh yeah. A couple of. I was trying to do some lords, like cowboy style lords, and I was really excited to use some of like the. What is it? There was I wanted a specific sorcerer that you had to buy like a box of Nurgle, like one of the big packs, $170 for 8 models. But like the big kind of chubby Nurgle guys on the blow drones, I really love those. The Blade Kings, they had, and they're riding those big flies. So they had 2 of those, and then that sweet like event specific caster. It's like the kind of rotted Nurgle sorcerer on the big. The 50 by 75 is like very comfortable for it. It's a squeeze to get it on a cavalry base, but so I was working on a caster, some knights. A lord on the bloatfly thing, and then a couple other ones just for options. But the more I played with them, the more they were not really jiving. And there's a lot of people that are going to be very experienced at this event. A lot of new people, like brand new people, first or second event, and then a lot of like people that are returning to the game. So yeah, I just wanted like something that would perform a little more consistently, I guess. So that and then BattleTech a little bit. I got back into some BattleTech commissions because I'd been painting just Old World for the last 2 months, and I'd kind of racked up in the background a bunch of people waiting on mechs. So that was nice. That felt good. I always enjoy mechs.
Nice.
And then I'm printing. I got my new printer set up. Andrew recommended. I was trying to buy a Frozen, like PHROZEN brand online, but I had like 2 or 3 mishaps with Amazon. Kept canceling my order or shipping broken printers. So I just got frustrated. Andrew said his Elegoo Saturn 3 was really good, so I bought a similar one.
Nice.
And I just got it set up tonight, test print going, and then I'll start on my team tournament list. I'm going to have a secret kind of Monster Mash army for that, with a new faction for me. So.
Ooh.
Right, Andrew? It's going to be, at least it's on the same team. That's it's a little bit rude, but I'm excited. I love it. I love playing with big monsters. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think I'm going to paint some big mechs coming up here for a guy, and then right back into more Old World. Keep it going for the summer, I hope.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen your stuff, been following some of your stuff too, right? So from your My Little Pony game studio. I think you just posted recently some mechs actually, so
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, I like it. It was a guy down in Calgary wanted a couple done, and he'd been waiting for a bit. So,
nice.
But yeah, the Chaos is really fun, and the was it Slaves of Darkness? Is that the AOS line for Chaos? Like such beautiful kits, but there's so many details on it. It takes, before I could airbrush like a bunch of mechs in like, I don't know, a couple 2-3 days pretty comfortably. But now I sit down and it's like to do the horse flesh on 5 nights takes me like 3 hours because I gotta like, undercoat everything, base coat it, then highlight it, then add shadows in, and then I gotta like carefully do the chainmail on all of them around it. And there's just so many, like the details are beautiful, but there's just so many of them. It takes way longer than you budget for it.
No, it does, but beautiful models,
it's worth it
beautiful paint jobs.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it's worth on the field. Like,
yeah, it's worth the time. And then more and more events are like Andrews and I think the last one they're taking painting into consideration, like sports paint and generalship equally, which I love. That's for me. That's like the perfect mix of hobby and like camaraderie and like hobby muscle. Even if you're not a fan of painting as much, it's just nice feeling to get some color yourself on your stuff and then put it on the field.
Yeah, when you want it's always nice to have your events that you're running also generate the guys coming out who have those painted armies and whatnot. It's an awesome
for every person
sight to see, right? It makes the experience even better. I get it.
Definitely,
Not everybody's a painter, and having just minimum colors, guys, that's how they want to run. Hey, that's cool. But to have those prizes and stuff to benefit, the guys who put in the effort and the artists and whatnot is like, I appreciate it all the time because like I have that kind of artist feel to checking guys' armies out and like notice an army and I'm like, now I'm diving in to look at the detail to see what this person did, right? And I appreciate it. So
and sometimes that hook is all it takes to start a new army yourself, right? Yeah, you're like, that wasn't on my radar, but now I see what you've done here, and I'm a fan. I want to paint some of those.
I got a very big hook that does a loop that catches everything. So, like it's like I remember going to the AOS event and just hanging out, being one of the painting judges, and I spotted the guy's Lizardman army, and I was like, I have to go look at that army, right? Beautiful models.
Yeah, that's always an eye catcher.
So
yeah, so many color choices you can go with. So many themes. How about you, Mr. Andrew?
Trying to finish my Bretonians. I've got like another 15 models to print still. Paint by.
Do you have your King in Reach by chance on your desk there? Your King Arthur?
No, they're still actually packed. Like they have not unpacked anything from the event.
Okay.
BCC, like I got home and got in there and I went to sleep after that event. That was that's pretty much it. So no, I'm working on my Lady Elise.
Okay.
Bear.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Very nice.
Is your army like fully printed or?
Well, I have 9 knights to print and 5 more bowmen to print for the event.
Okay.
So, but that's like a 5-hour print, so it's not that bad. That the Saturn Ultra is a very fast printer.
Nice.
Did you get
for your next night block? Is it errantry as well? Or what nights did you go with?
Yeah, I'm running errantry for the event. Most likely stick to errantry for most of the events for now. I find that it's got like that errantry banner with the +1 strength on the charge, and then getting the reroll for the Falcon Horn and all the other like shifty stuff that comes along with that list. It's kind of
I mean, like your new knights are printing though. Are they a third errantry lance?
Oh,
you got 2 and a grail right now.
Those are the 9-foot knights to hide the paladin. Basically.
Okay, I got you.
So he can keep tooting his horn and keep dragging on the ground.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so of course everybody's busy, hobby time doing stuff. Always different projects, which is awesome. I know everybody around me is just like tournaments, events, projects, new armies, new systems, a lot of stuff popping off this year. I know later in September I got my bolt action thing popping off because it's a new edition coming too. So but that's a whole other story.
What is it? Conflict 77 or whatever it was?
Conflict 47, yeah.
Yeah, Andy Chambers got signed on to create the new rulebook for it.
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Yeah, I was hearing rumors that he got picked up to do the new rule system, because they basically, the new company that took it over, they canceled it and they're revamping the whole system with new models and new rule book and everything.
So Warlord Games has acquired Conflict 47.
Okay.
So, and funny enough, a lot of the old GW guys, like the original guys, like Andy Chambers, right? They actually work closely with Warlord Games. So a lot of their games have been made and designed and influenced or changed by those guys, right? So I know Andy Chambers has done like Blood Red Skies, which is the aerial combat World War II game that they make, which is pretty cool, right? And then Alessio Cavatore, I think is his name. He's actually the one who's now done 3rd edition for Bolt Action. So he's also another name that worked for GW at one point. So, yeah. So a lot of
Chambers, that original Orc versus Imperial using the old Epic models back in the release, like 18 years ago, 20 years ago. It was like a little gray box with red writing on it. It was an air combat game. I don't know if you guys remember that one. You got like 4 Orc fighter, 2 bombers and 2 fighters, and then you got 2 Imperial fighters and 2 bombers.
I remember some
like, is it Imperial Aeronauticus or whatever? Like, or is that similar to the one they launched it like 2 years ago?
No, this was like the original version of it. It was like one of the first like specialist games by GW, like way back in the day.
Yeah,
it's fun to play.
They made a lot of different games back then that we don't hear about anymore. But yeah, so lots of stuff on the go.
Lost to time. Yeah.
Lots of stuff on the go. Lots of never know. Battlefleet Gothic might pop up, maybe. But continue on with the episode. We have, I guess, so the 2 events. We have Thunder Pony, right? That's coming up July 21st. Full house for that one, I believe.
Yeah, we're at 20 right now. About half the people have paid. I'm going to be hounding them this week to collect, make sure that everyone's committed to it and that kind of stuff. But Phil's just laughing because he knows what it's like. He's just like, I had one guy who's like, "Can I just pay you the day of?" And I'm like, "No, you can pay me."
Russell? You mean Russ Fawcett? Every time. At least he's good. I know he's good.
Definitely need to, make that.
Yeah, once you start buying your extended prize pool, and like you've got your trophies covered for like the minimum.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes they're the coolest ones, but sometimes your box trophy prizes can be even cooler. But you got like your minimum stuff covered for at least like your best generals and your best overall. Yeah, then you're like, how much money do I actually have to work with after I pay for venue and stuff? Because I still need to get paid by a lot of people. And then the team events there's always 40K was the worst. I found that you'd always have people, they're like, hey, so and so talked to you a month ago. You guys were just gonna rattle some chains and get the team to send their stuff over, lists, whatever, and payment. Oh yeah, no, we decided we weren't gonna do that tournament anymore. I was like, oh, thanks. When were you gonna reach out? See, that sounds like 7 days away. Oh yeah, it just works busy. Yeah, I get it. It's the same for me too, man.
Yeah.
It's also hosting a tournament and have a bunch of kids, so a little heads up would be nice.
Yeah, we get that too. I mean, like ourselves here with Trident Wargaming, we do a lot of BCP stuff. So when guys want to go and register, they've got to pay right there, right? So,
okay.
And then it just does its transfer.
Nice.
Some smaller events myself, I will try to wrangle everybody together and
same. Yeah,
do the payment.
That's a little,
but
a little more casual.
I don't know if there is old world stuff on BCP myself, but
there is. The last one we were at, the GCC one was to BCP.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, cool. but I think people are either using New Recruit. Yeah, true. You can either use BCP or New Recruit. I think they offer the same kind of like interface, the same kind of like system that you can do. Log your lists, sign up team wise, run your event through it, like have them submit scores. So that's handy. So I think they're both. I don't know if they're competing necessarily, but they're both offering the same stuff.
Nice. So yeah, so Thunder Pony, that's going off. 2,400 points, 5 games over the 2 days. You're using a standard Swiss pairing, I believe, right? For the pairings?
Yes, but we're using battle points, not victory points.
Battle points? Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more of like, even if you get the shit kicked out of you, it's not near as bad as like just losing 2,400 to nothing or 2,400 to like 600 points. You can actually peel away some points from your opponent, which kind of will level out the playing field, and you can kind of get like, maybe it's game 4 and you know that you're gonna lose, and you're like, well, I'm gonna make sure this guy doesn't get to like the top 3, and you can just do what you can to steal battle points out of it, kind of thing too. Right. So,
and is that a very similar system to Phil what you're doing with
same point system doubles? To my knowledge?
Yeah. I'm seeing if my screen is still up or not.
Yeah, because you had there's secondary points that you're doing too, I believe.
Yeah, is it? How do I? Which side screen is showing it? Is it the new recruit one still, or is it?
Yeah, it's new recruit.
Something that. Oh, I don't know how to get it over to like the other like the web page I'm using.
If you go down to where it says share your screen, I think you can click it to change your screen. Which screen you want to?
Oh, they change windows. Oh, there we go. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, let me know. Does that show up with the white screen now?
Yeah, it shows.
Okay. Yeah, so here's the scoring system. So before, you'd have basically like your victory points, what you killed, and that could be really, really misleading because a lot of the times it feels like a super close game, but like I find my units are really chunky, and a lot of the times you kill a lot of them, but you don't finish them off. And math-wise, I always work out when I'm army building, what is the best unit size for efficiency, but also I give up the least amount of points, like when I'm taking damage. So if I have 4 Dragon Ogres, it's much easier for somebody to kill off 25 or all but 25%, meaning they only get, I think it's half points. And it's harder for me to rally. So I run them in 3s instead. So it's impossible for me to lose enough full models to hit 25%. I'd go down to 1 model, which is 33%, and I don't really suffer any penalty for that. Or just straight all die, and then you get full points. So it's just kind of like an easy way to run the units, so you're giving away less points, I guess, on the majority of games.
Right.
So a lot of times, it's like we both beat each other up really bad, but when you actually count up the points, it's pretty skewed. So this is Lawrence Mathis from Calgary did this up for us. He made a bunch of missions, which he adapted from 9th Age, which had really, really good dynamic secondaries, and then he adapted the scoring system for it. So if you were to have a draw, like a true draw, which is pretty hard, you need between 0 and 120 victory point difference between the two armies at the end of the game. So I killed 1,100, you killed 1,000 kind of idea. Then it would be a 10-10 for both of us. We'd both walk away with 10 points. And you're always working with like 20 points total for the people to share kind of idea over the course of the game or at the end of the game when you tally it up.
Right.
So, best for both people, 10-10, perfect. And then if you had a 10-10 and one of us were to achieve the secondary objective, it would skew by -3 for the person that didn't and +3 for the person that did. So it would turn it into a 13-7 for whoever got the secondary. So it was a 10-10 draw, it's now 13-7. So it's kind of like a minor victory by getting the secondary. And then if you were to have a 17-3 before points, so that's the difference between points is the other end of the spectrum, 1681, then if you killed 1681 more than the other person and you got the secondary, then you get your full 20-0. But it's much harder to get that full 20-0 and just like box people out over and over and over again.
So you really gotta work at it and and be on your A game kind of thing to really get that. Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, I like that rather than just you're blown out,
Yeah, especially for team events, because you'll find like when we were, if you're playing in large enough teams, like the 8-man teams from ETC, they take an average. So they say like the best you can walk away with is 100 points for a round. So if you had 5 of your guys went 20-0, it doesn't matter what your other 3 guys did, because you take the best 5 games and you add those points up. So you might have gotten 140 points, but you could only actually carry 100 from that round to the next round. And that helps keep teams that are getting pummeled, repeatedly by bad matchups, or, it's an amazing team playing a brand new team. They're not losing. The people aren't winning as much as they could be if they had raw, unmitigated points.
Right.
And then the team that's doing poorly, they may get a lot more games where they're like, oh, gentleman's agreement, 10-10. Like, we're both doing bad, and I don't know how it's going to go. So I find there's a lot more people do stuff like that, which is fine.
And that can affect like the team matchups later, right? So.
Definitely. Yeah. You can say like, we need to be getting a certain amount of points for this next game. So we're not gonna give you this matchup because it's not as favorable as we want it to be, kind of idea.
Right.
Yeah. So that's scoring wise, and then mission wise, we've been just kind of mixing and matching the deployments with Lawrence's missions, but it's been fairly well received so far. Yeah. Quite enjoyable.
And that system's going for both events pretty much.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a tuner for it's for people to get ideas on that 2,400 point, and then scoring system and the missions, and kind of get used to the idea, get ready for the team event kind of thing.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, like a practice. Like it's a bunch of months between the two, but it still gives you an idea of what does 2,400 points of your army look like.
Essentially, by talking about this, and then also having the TO group that I was invited to there, like down the road, I would like to actually run an event as well at some point,
awesome.
Probably maybe later this year, after everything kind of thing. But it's good to kind of get a general standardization of, everybody's kind of on the same idea for how events kind of go for scoring and stuff, right? So it's good to see that, like people have already been thinking about kind of things like that. Like, last thing you want is players to come to an event and just get completely wrecked and not have fun, and might not show up.
I agree. Right? We're like be unaware of like what the lay of the land is. Like, if you, a lot of times you put your player pack out, and most people, you hope, read it. I know a lot of people don't, because they have like very obvious questions, very easy to answer questions, like weeks after it's out, and they're like, where do I do this or that? You're like, it's over here. But
how many
like being able to like sit down and read through, well, you'd be surprised at the kinds of questions. And it's not from like a team that had 3 people and 1 dropped out, or sorry, 4 people, 1 dropped out, and they just grabbed a 4th and they brought him in, and he's just like, oh, I'm new, fill me in quick. It's like, this person was the captain of a team. They still didn't read anything. They didn't wrangle their guys.
Show up with an illegal list, and you call them out on it, and they get angry about it. And it's a TO for the actual event that's being held.
Oh, where was that? That sounds very familiar.
I don't know. I think he's associated with some kind of like 3-point gaming system, 3-point staff gaming system now.
Oh, is it Arthur? Okay. Oh, okay, fair enough.
We'll throw him an Uber.
I find that the one reason I like New Recruit the most, I would say, is because when you plug your list in, it's like every time there's a FAQ or an errata or an update, they're super fast with coming to like fix their formulas in the program. So it'll pop up with errors and tell you exactly what you can't take 2 of this banner. You can't have 2 of these lord types. You're restricted to a lord, and then like you have to go down a step into hero class if you have a lord already. Whereas like if you're an old world army builder or the other ones, Battle Scribe, they don't show errors like that. So you might have 3 lords and think nothing of it, and then when you show up for the event, or they're checking. That's why I always try and post lists ahead of time too, because I don't know the armies as well as people know their own armies. Like I read up on a lot of them, theory crafting and thinking about what I'd want to play, but I don't have the deep knowledge of someone that plays like one army all the time. So by posting it up, they're scanning through and multiple sets of eyes looking on them, and a lot more people looking for errors or issues.
And that's good. That's always good to have, is that multiple people, checking things out, or people who really know their stats or whatever.
Yeah, and we have a really good community. Everyone's really, really helpful.
Just like the game that we had there, Phil, on that Sunday, still fairly new to getting the dwarves down kind of thing. It was a couple weeks since I played, so it's still very fresh. And then just getting some help on the sidelines there, just with some of the rules that I forgot kind of thing. So yeah, like some guys, they just hold it all up there, and it's like, how the hell do you remember all that? But for me, it's just gotta keep going. Try it. Yeah, I missed that. Yeah. Not this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, Andrew and I, after pretty much every event this year, has been like on the drive home, texting back and forth. You stop for food. You're like, game 3, this guy did a thing, and then we look it up, or we both maybe played the same person, and it's like, oh no, in our game we found out they couldn't do that, or I was doing a thing that I wasn't supposed to be allowed to do, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. So you maybe make a Discord post about it, like, hey, just so everybody knows, like, you can or cannot do this. So yeah, there's a lot of learning for everybody, even people that play a lot. Yeah.
For sure.
But that's the depth that I love
of the game itself. Yeah. It's not like crazy complicated like some other games out there, but yet it still has enough in it that you're always thinking about things, or you're always trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to use this unit? Like, how can I make this unit better? Attach a certain character to it, that kind of thing. But it definitely brings me back to the old fantasy days for sure, right? So, and it's been many years since I've played, but pretty hyped. I mean, picked up 4 armies, so pretty hyped to keep playing, right?
Yeah.
And get another
one of us.
Exactly. Screw you, AOS. But I seen on your sheet there you had some missions, and Andrew, for the Thunder Pony, are the missions going to be essentially different missions that you guys, or the same?
Relatively the same. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're pretty much the same 5 missions across the board there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think they were posted with the pack. I think the mission
posted with the
selection was empty. Yeah.
No, I got to work on that this week.
I just happened to see the mission on your sheet.
I know Lawrence said he was happy to help, like if he needed to tweak any of the like the layout of the sheets to print off, whatever. Like if you wanted to dragon killing moves, like. Yeah, it's nice having so many like helpful people in our group of like TO people, because if you're not good at something, like we have another friend that's been doing like layouts of the player packs and like graphics and stuff, so that's been an awesome resource for things a little bit prettier for people to catch their eye.
That was my job in the Heresy days, so I get it. Making those packs look really fancy and taking pictures,
sometimes it's just
taking pictures of people's actual models and then inserting them into the packs and giving back to the players, right? When you hand it out, hey, that's my model, that'd kind of thing,
be cool.
Right?
That'd be really cool, yeah.
So the thing with the missions, because I noticed just playing the generic missions out of the rule book there. There's the one mission that you lose a certain amount of percentage of your army and your whole army routes or something like that.
Mm-hmm. If you're down to 25%, you just lose, I think. Something like that. Yeah.
Have you guys found that the generic missions are just not really that great for tournament play?
It really just comes down to, can you smash the other person? And then I find it's not great in that capacity when you're teaching people that are new. Like every time I watch a channel on YouTube that's doing like bat reps, they always, they're like, okay, this is game 8 of Break Dawn, like the 12-inch on either side, and then we're just playing kill points, and like it just gets boring super fast, and it's not a really good give and take if you have a person that plays a lot and a person that's brand new, because the person that plays a lot, even if they're choosing to play a little bit easier or build a list that's like softer, to be on the same kind of like footing with the person that's brand new, you're still always making moves like 2 turns ahead of where they are, just because they're not there yet. They're not processing stuff in advance. They don't know what my units do. They barely know what their units do.
Yeah.
And like you're there to help them learn. But at the same time, if it's always just about kill points, in the back of your mind, you're like, well, I should just pull out. I should disengage because he's going to maul my unit, and I'm going to lose points. So it's kind of like ends up being a little bit of a sterile game, I find. And if you have secondary objectives where it's like progressive scoring, like hold the center, or like even like the 3 units that are like you have to protect, or 3 units of his that you're chasing down, like chasing after their stuff. I find it's just more dynamic than just straight flat kill points. There were some that were like a little odd. Like there was one where you had to get gold from the center line. So along the center of the map, there was gold set out, and then it was hammer and anvil for 40k terms. So that would be like the long wise, like like if you're on a rectangle, like you're, So like if you're dwarves, I think Lawrence was working with the math on it. Like you can't actually touch the gold and get back to your side of the map in 6 game turns, even if you marched every round. So like it's a little skewed. Like it was fun. I grabbed a bunch of gold units that were decimated and then ran for 4 turns, like just march ran, and I couldn't hit the back line. I was like 8 inches off or something. My opponent and I were laughing about it, but as we're trying to like beat each other up with the stuff we had in the middle left. But we'll get more intricate ones. I noticed like a lot of the fantasy tournaments from the States that were like very iconic for having themes to their events. There's like one that was like a wrestling theme. One that you had like everyone got a free giant in their list. What I really used to like, I can't remember the name of it, but I used it a lot when we played 9th Age. Was you got say like your 2,000 points or your 2,500 point army, and then you could take a mount out of any book. It didn't have to be your book. So if you had a lord and you wanted a dragon or a dinosaur or a saber, like a thunder tusk, whatever the big like ogre things are, you could put your guy on any model in the game. You do one pick like that, and you still have to pay the points for it. But it was cool because you to see people modeling like their elf on a stone horn, like on a big ogre. Like I wanted to make my mascot for my painting studio. It's like an ogre running Pegasus. I thought it's just like chopping up all these like, cool models for the one time event you're going to use it for. But just fun stuff like that. I see a lot of fantasy events are coming back flavor to them. It's really really exciting to see.
No, fair enough. No, that's good. It's good to hear. I know we've always had that with, especially in the Heresy days, we had that where we would design our own missions as well. And whatnot, and then I don't know. I find, and even with Bolt Action, I've done it too, where I've actually made the event a theme of something. So, like, if you wanted to do something with fantasy, Blood River Battle or whatever you want to call it, or Firestone Mountain, stuff like that. I think that's great.
Journals. Right? I think the Arcane Journals here have like examples of scenarios from the past that you can do. And I don't know how like balanced they would be for event play, but I'm sure you could adapt them 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Just to get an idea, right? So and so like the events, like the event coming up here, the Thunder Pony, like pretty much straight up. There's really no other theme kind of going on for it. It's just pretty much what we've talked about, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's Lawrence's missions with secondaries, things like that. There's nothing crazy, nothing insane. I think me and Phil were thinking of putting together, what is it, was it DOT or POT or whatever it was?
Triumph and Treachery.
No, not just Triumph and Treachery, but what was it? It was the...
Oh, yeah, so the guys from Calgary, TOP
group, that's what it was.
Well, a bunch of guys down there had like a kind of a group. Kind of like a bit like Trident up here, kind of everyone has like their
right,
kind of like onslaught basement guys. The TOP guys had an awesome format where it was like every mission and every table was completely unique, and it was set up based off like pop culture references or like movies or like books. So every they put up maybe 10 missions total or 12. There'd only be about 10 tables for each system because every table was completely unique with unique terrain and unique mission. So there's like the Star Wars one, and it was all Zone Mortalis on either side of the table. And there was one strip that was a hangar in the middle, and there was like an Arvis Lighter or like a Valkyrie sitting in the middle. And you either got C-3PO or R2-D2 as your droid, and you had to go through all the Zone Mortalis like bunkers and blast doors. And your little robot guy moved with you, and then he could use his action to either like open a door, close a door, I think disable turrets, that kind of idea. And then you had to you could spawn, I believe, your guys in different parts of the map. So you'd be fighting the other side, trying to kill their robot and their guys, and trying to get your robot to the getaway vehicle first, kind of idea. So super cool. I only ever played the 40k ones. I unfortunately didn't play Fantasy at the time. And then there was like Thomas the Murder Train, which was like Thomas the Tank Engine, and it was this big chaos-tainted train going down the center of the map. And then he would move like a random amount of distance each turn, and anything he went by, he would broadside and just like decimate with his like guns on the back of the tank. So he'd be like hiding behind terrain and still trying to shoot the other team. It was super fun. So I imagine the fantasy ones were just as like maybe not super balanced. You definitely had to read in advance, because if you were trying to read this wall of text and all these like interactions the day of, it was a little bit skewy. But awesome barbecue, awesome venue, super nice guys. It was just like one of the premium events of the year for sure. Yeah,
nice.
And for fall, we're doing kind of a combo thing. There's the heresy element from a gentleman, and then the Infinity guys are doing Infinity. So we're trying to get back into like similar to what you and Bill and Scott and Arthur are doing with like having more con style events, like get that kind of mentality back. Yeah, I would love to see Old World involved in more of those kind of things. Yeah, where you get like the big convention hall and you see a bunch of games being played. That's at least my favorite way to play.
Yeah, that's pretty much on the same idea of what we're trying to do as well. So
nice.
And we have our big event as well in October.
Yeah. I'm excited for that.
That'll be good too. But it sounds really awesome that the events are popping off. A lot of people are hyped. Like you guys have probably seen a lot of new guys coming into the scene. Myself included, of course, right? I never did play Ninth Age. I looked at it a little bit. But essentially when fantasy fizzled out, like that was kind of it. Like I mentioned to Andrew a while at the last event I was at where you guys were there, I was like, I sold my orcs off. It was the first thing I sold on the swap and shop, and it was actually to Andrew. Way back when. He doesn't remember, but it was way back when.
Like all these bins behind me, this is all Warhammer back here. So
yeah, that's a small world, hey? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I remember selling them off, and it was like, well, fantasy's done. Like nobody's that I knew was playing it anymore. Bill and the other crew that I was playing with, they started getting rid of their stuff, and that was it. And then now it's like
it seemed like the company just dropped it. It felt like
and now
it didn't feel like they had.
Now it's
literally it was just like
so.
But it's been years, so like you can't fault anyone for getting rid of their stuff over that many years.
And then now too, like the guys that I play with Bolt Action, like Jason and our buddy James, they both jumped onto it. Like Jason was like, I'm never getting into a GW game again. And of course I was like, Old World. And sure enough, he got it into it before I did. And I was like, yes, my job here is done. Right.
Yeah, right.
So, but that's happening. More people are coming. I've been kind of hyping it up at Red Claw as well on the Wednesday nights. Essentially, it's like every second Wednesday I've been trying to put an announcement out, people coming out, and it's happening on the Facebook page as well, which is great. People are kind of calling out.
Yeah, I've noticed. Yeah, people are excited about that. That's awesome.
So almost every week now, when I go down on the Wednesday night, I've actually seen people playing some Old World down there. So that's great.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's getting really good. It's getting a lot of hype. People are really excited. People are bringing out their old armies, bringing new armies, 3D printed armies, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because the miniatures, you get to relive the old memories of, oh, I remember those Slayers. They were so awesome. They're old, but they were so awesome, right? Or, you see different ogres, or you see, the Goblin Fanatics, that kind of thing. Just the special miniatures that you remember and just shit.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody remembers their first like packs they bought. I got. I think it was like a grade 7 band trip. We went to Ontario. We went to Ottawa for like a band. Like I was playing the trumpet, and I just remember my family gave me way too much money in traveler's checks for a kid. And I went to this hobby store, and there was like a 5th edition starter box for fantasy, and I had no idea what it was. It was just like, oh, look at that knight stabbing. I think it was the lizardman on the front. So I bought it and brought it home. Yeah, and I was just like, what? I gotta build this stuff. So I had to like learn how to build models, and then I was going to buy paints from the store. Didn't know anything about primer. It was like painting right on the plastic. And then like you're looking through the little GW cabinet at Wonderland Toy and Hobby in Grand Prairie, and they had like White Dwarf magazines, paints you could buy, blister packs, like a random assortment, and then there's like these Wood Elf Wave Watchers. It's like, oh, it's like an elf forest sniper, and I was just like so enamored as a kid. I was like, this thing's badass. Nice. So I just buy all these blisters of models I never learned how to use in the game, but they were on my shelf in my room.
First miniatures I bought was a blister pack of Dark Elf Spearmen.
Oh yeah, a pewter. I'm assuming
the pewters. They had the kind of like the diamond-shaped headpiece on their helmet that came up.
Yeah,
the purple and the big long chain cloaks that they had. It was like, I don't know. For me, it's like it's all about the troops. If the troops look good, I'm in. Right?
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
So yeah, no, that's great.
They did an awesome job of like portraying the forces in the old books, like with the goblin green bases and like those like thin little like plastic card hills they would make. And they'd have them set up, and I'd always like either you'd flip open to a page and it'd be like dwarves defending a hill against the vampires, and they'd be like, okay, the flame cannon. I don't even know any of the rules for this game, but the flame cannon's going to shoot and it's going to kill the ghouls, and then the zombies are going to bust through and kill those dwarves with rifles, and then that Slayer guy, he looks so tough, he's going to kill that zombie dragon by himself, like all in your head, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it'd be like an adult now and playing it out on the table. It's super cool.
For sure. So yeah, there's a couple of other things actually with your format for the Champions Call, which if I haven't mentioned, it's actually October 5th and 6th. It's a 4-player team event, anywhere from 10 to 12 teams, I think you had written down there.
Yeah, I think 10 is what we're aiming for, and then depending if the other systems fill up or not, we'll probably try and spill over if we hit max or more.
Fair enough. Dragon Slayer Award.
Yeah, Andrew's got something similar. I think we're using the same kind of format for his this month.
Okay, so Rule of 3, Dragon Slayer Award, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All that's familiar item. So, familiar item, fill me in. What's going on with that thing?
Yeah, there was so there's a lot of intricacies with rules as written in the book. So you'll look through, you'll read it a certain way. You're like, okay, it sounds a little weird or janky the way they've written this, but I feel like it should be used this way in the game. Like the mechanics should operate like this. And then you post it up just to verify in like whatever group you're in, Old World Butonia or Old World, one of the bigger groups, like the main Facebook groups. And then you'll get a bunch of different answers, 5 different answers from different directions. And everyone's vehemently like, this is how it is. And everyone, as soon as someone says, I think, then I just discount. Yeah. Actually,
I write for spiky bits. I know better than everyone.
Yeah. So I always, unless they have a page number, I don't. Unless they have like citing their sources kind of idea, because the lore item, it allows you to pick, like if you have if I have battle magic with my caster that I use for chaos, I buy him an upgrade where he gets an extra spell, so he has 5 spells instead of 4, and then if I take I can't remember if it's arcane or lore familiar, but it's the one that lets you choose your spells instead of rolling randomly for your spells, which is super handy if you have like a theme.
Arcane familiar.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I got it wrong. In the player's pack, I wrote the wrong one. I think I wrote lore familiar.
Oh, okay.
But the one that I was citing is that you get to select your spells, and you could select even from your signature spell from battle magic or any of the other 6 spells. So you knew exactly what you're going to get every time. You got what you needed. But the issue is that rules as written, you cannot have selections from battle magic, say, and my own chaos lore. I can't take my chaos lore spells. Like normally you can default. So if I have a level 4 and I roll 4 random spells, I can exchange one of those spells for the signature spell from battle magic, or I can take one of the spells from my book, whether it's Bretonia or Chaos or Beastman. Everyone's got, or Skaven, and everyone's got their own flavor magic in their book, usually 3 or 4 spells, sometimes 2. But you couldn't select out of battle magic and then choose your signature from battle magic and my hereditary or my signature spell from my own flavor book. Just rules as written, it didn't work that way. And you kind of have to play by rules as written because it's just without it, there's too many ifs or buts, and the stability of the game degrades super fast. So you have to play it as it is, as it's written. They will fact and errata questions. So people are saying like, it's written this way, it sounds stupid. Is this really how you want us to play it? They'll say like, actually, no, like we're going to change this wording around, strike that, and it should be played this way. Or they'll say, yeah, it is like that. Have fun. And then you just kind of have to figure it out how it's going to work or how you're going to interact in that capacity. Yeah. So, and I just wanted people to be able to have like, I didn't want people to not be able to take these really good items that are like really beneficial and enjoyable to use because of poor wording. So anytime I see like a big, explosion on the main pages, especially like post large events, people saying like, well, I had a great time, but this was annoying. I got this kind of a gotcha moment when someone's like, this part of your list that's a key feature doesn't work because of the wording on it. So I just always keep an eye out for that kind of stuff, make a little note in a journal, and then kind of play test it a little bit, see if it feels any better if we swap stuff, and then if not, then just leave it as is.
Good to know. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Andrew. Dragon Slayer Award. What are we doing here?
Oh, it's actually Dragon Hunter Award. So it's going to be the most wounds caused of a natural T6 that you cause on a natural T6 model. So it's not just going to be like, hey, I can either go kill a dragon or I can't kill a dragon, but if I could knock off 5 wounds from this guy, it's like it's just trying to push a little bit more of like trying to go after the dragon.
Okay.
As a reward. So like there's just some armies that just cannot kill a chaos dragon. Like the way that you can build these things, it's almost impossible to kill. Like I've got probably the most blendiest, strongest, hackiest lord that's not on a dragon, and like still 1-on-1, Bill's dragon kicks its ass every single time.
Yeah, I think he got it down to 2 wounds in Andrew and I's game, but that was a lot of back and forth. He beat me and run away a little bit to give ground, and then we big back in again. Yeah, and he was whittling my guy down. I think I killed his Duke. You got my dragon to 2 wounds, and it was lucky, very lucky. Situationally, I think if I had one worse, like run away, like if I had to flee, I would have died. I think. Yeah. I can't remember exactly.
I'm debating on making that unit just a little bit bigger for those wounds, like the extra unit size.
For the rank, yeah.
Well, then it just pushes you from like fall back in good order to flee, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fall back in good order, which then I get the charge bonus too, right? So there's a lot of
for new people, if you have a single model and you have if Andrew does enough wounds that fatal combat, might give ground, so I might bump back 2 inches and fall back in good order, so I move back 1d6 and then auto rally. Or I might full flee, which is like the full 2d6 run away and he chases me. But if he's not higher than double of my unit strength, then it's pretty negligible on my end. Like most of them, I just auto rally. But if he's double my strength or more, then it pushes me into the danger territory where I'm fully fleeing a lot more often.
Yeah.
So that's a really good way to punish things on like big, like single things on big mounts. But the guy after me, he just flat out killed the dragon, and it was a lord that had Giant's Blade, I think it was, just a flat 2 wounds, and he snuck a couple wounds through. And then his mount was a Carnosaur, like a T-Rex, basically. And it's against monsters, specializes, it does extra wounds against them. And I just didn't have enough killing power to kill his Carnosaur, and he just kept taking huge bites out of my guy, and I think he killed him plus extra wounds, like 3rd round of combat, 2nd round of combat. So it can swing either way, but yeah, having an award that where you add up how much damage you've done to them over the course of all the event or all the games feels pretty sweet in comparison to like you have to actually fully kill it for it to count on paper, which would be not very fun, I don't think.
Should be interesting to see how that turns out in an event, right? Because like you're not always going to be in that situation where your hunter, your killer is going to be able to actually fight against that dragon or anything, right?
Yeah.
Like me running a dwarf king, the way I've built my dwarf king, where he does multiple wounds and he doesn't take multiple wounds back, and he's more of a character fighter, right? More than likely, I'm not charging you. Like, if I'm charging your dragon, you messed up. Like, you know
Yeah,
I mean?
the dragon is picking the farthest point, and then like working his way across the field. Yeah,
Right. So,
or like a dragon on dragon. Like if you have a big fighty lord and the opponent's got a big fighty lord on a dragon, and you both kind of like side eye looking at each other as you like queue off on each other's armies at far sides of the table. Like, can I get through your army before you get through mine? And then who's gonna catch who after that? Yeah.
exactly.
do you have it on hand there, Andrew? Like close to you? It looks pretty sweet. Oh no, that's the best overall. I was thinking your helm, the knight helm you got for.
Oh yeah, no. The Dragon Hunter is actually going to be a 3-inch template.
Oh, nice. Okay, sweet.
You can use, and it's going to be a ward. It's got the hole in the middle. It's got a dragon carved into it. It's going to be. Nice. I think it's a mix of wood and plastic. So Rob's working on it right now. So it'll be a kind of like something cool you can use. I always like to try to do trophies that you can use in game.
Okay.
For like the small stuff. And so it's usable in game.
Nice.
I like that, and it's like a little badge of like badge of honor on the table. You're like, oh, you were that, you won that at that event. So you're like, yep.
Got to give him like the, like the hands on the Game of Thrones, the hand.
Yeah, a little like iron hat. Yeah, totally. Little dragon claw,
little
dragon claw. Yeah, I think for the for the one in the fall, we're gonna do the top 3 teams will get like engraved slugs. I really like that from out of the basement. You can put it up on your wall, and you can bring it in for drinks and stuff. But then we'll do best in faction as well. So, because that's always nice. You're able to like, even if you're not in the top 3 team contention, you're able to like play the best in your field, like of your faction of army. And then I think what we'll have it is like you can win as a team, like a moniker for your team, like so the brave, the courageous, the whatever. And then when we're posting teams up in the future, you're allowed to like insert your moniker into your team name or like your player name, right? Like Andrew Vidaro, the whatever. And then it's like a cool thing to see. Like guys have like kind of earned these like honorifics on their title over the course of like different events.
Nice. Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Yeah, and then you can have it up on your wall, like a little framed thing with smart on it. Yeah.
That reminds me of a campaign that we played way back when for Warhammer Fantasy, and I was given the name the Betrayer. Because any alliance I made with anybody around me for taking territory, I would break.
It was built on sand.
I would break and take their territories over. So, but of course I was playing Chaos, so it was just the only person the only person I didn't betray until the very end was my my ally, who was also playing Chaos, and he had like a huge territory, and I had this little corner, like I was little Italy on the side of Germany kind of thing, right? And and it was essentially I was starting to get beat back, and I wasn't getting resources, so I was like, sorry bud, I gotta take your open land. So, but yeah, those are different times. Good games, but that's cool. Like I like that kind of stuff where you can throw in that stuff into events and communities, and make things kind of, I guess, special for that, right? Like
it's like very memorable.
Good. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So I find this summer I think we're going to try and do maybe hopefully twice, because it's tough to get everybody in. But Triumphant Treachery is where you have like 4 to 5 people on one table, and generally it's a little bit smaller army sizes. So if you regularly play 2,000, I think it'd probably be around like 12 to 1,400 or something. But so you each kind of get a corner of the table, and it's kind of a little bit like Risk, where you're all kind of like eyeballing each other, like under the table, kind of like leg kick, like, okay, well, I might be offensive against these Skaven beside me here, and then hopefully nobody comes in from my left flank here and like gets me. So it's kind of like the gentleman's agreement, or you might like plan a little beforehand, like
alliances were made.
Yeah, exactly. Expectations were set, but then there's like cards and money. Basically, it's kind of a little bit like
nice.
You have resources, and someone's like, all right, well, I'm gonna shoot with my caster on a flying or something, or some peg knights, and they're like, actually pulling the card, shoot.
Sorry, Phil, you're breaking up a little bit.
Any better?
There you go. Yep.
You can like play a card that'll say like, this shooting unit has to target what you pick as opposed to what its owner picks. So you're like, actually, you're going to be shooting your ally this shooting phase, and then their ally gets all grumpy, or you're like, all right, I'm going to do this, and you're like, no, you're not going to charge them. You're going to pivot and charge these guys instead. And so you can barter with your coins and your cards, kind of idea. Or like, hey, if you support me instead of your ally, I'll give you these 3 cards and a bunch of gold. And they're like, all right, yeah, shit, sure.
Yeah, that's funny.
Friends off. So yeah, it gets pretty heated, but it's really fun.
That'd be good, fun moments for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's more of a beer and pretzel all afternoon for one game kind of thing. Yeah,
for sure.
It's like 5 hours for one game with about 4 players.
Yeah. We tried 2, I think, when we were playing 9th Age with it, and it was just like too much in a day. You really just got to like have like multiple tables with 4 or 5 guys each, and then each one just plays out one for the whole day. But yeah, it's super, super fun.
Nice. Well, cool. Oh, that's pretty cool. Great. It sounds like great events, going to be happening. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to both, so I'm super excited about that. I know the guys have been super excited. They've been trying to nail down a team name as well, and I think we are down to Favored 4, I believe. So,
I like that. I was going to say, I thought I had my team shirt hanging up here because I do laundry with them. But yeah, Andrew and I have a pony.
Nice.
I think we're talking about doing. But yeah, there's a. What was Blair and Matt Lahonis and Dan Hintz? I think they had blouses. It was Dave Chappelle. Yeah. It was like Dave Chappelle, like the image of him, and he was like a caricature of him, and he's got like a stack of pancakes.
It's Dave Chappelle doing Prince.
Yeah, doing the Prince skit. Yeah, it was super funny. Yeah, there's been so many good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I threw a couple names, and the first one that came to mind was Team Rough and Tumble. So.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Favorite Ford is probably going to be the one. Kind of.
I like that.
I might make a little icon for it, kind of the Fantastic Four, but make it look kind of dwarvenish or something like that.
Yeah, like a ruin. That'd be super sweet. Yeah.
That kind of thing. But yeah, as we finish up here, one more thing I guess we talk about actually is the new recruit. Funny enough, when I first looked at it, I was like, "What's this archaic system?" Right? And then as
it feels like Army Builder,
and then as I started looking at it, I was like, and then when we played our game, Phil, you had mentioned to me that it shows you your eras, right? Yes. Your errors and whatnot, and compositions and this and that, or you need this champion in order to have multiple of these units, kind of thing, like the Night Goblins kind of stuff, which I noticed. So this is a good moment to actually to kind of go through it, because I know both of you guys are using it for the events, and it seems like it's going to be the standard for events either way, at least in my head so far. Of course, there might be other ones, but it'd be a good time to maybe just go through it. So the guys,
I think a lot of people will use BCP down in the States still. Ninth Age, New Recruit seems like it's championed more by like the guys that played Ninth Age a lot, because it was a very solid structure, and it was just like very good mechanically, functioned well. And like Ninth Age is all about like rules and having things like really clean cut, because it was like a lot of layers of rules. So that's why they liked it so much. BCP, I think, is very popular because they always have like the ITC style ladder systems where like if your event's not on the BCP app, you're not gaining like BCP points winning those events.
True.
So if you want to be like the BCP's best, you got to go to those events. And like Americans never come to our events, and we go there sometimes. So I really don't care like what the system is. Like I'm not going to be traveling around the States enough and care enough to like accumulate a bunch of points to be a BCP champion. Yeah, so I would rather just use the one that I know and is like structurally sound, and is free. I think you can pay for premium on both. I think I know New Recruit you can pay the up. I bought the annual, whatever it was, $10, just to unlock all of the rules, so I could look up stuff easier on it. But you don't have to. It's true, certainly.
Nice.
Okay, so if somebody's new,
I'm going to switch to the screen here first to pop it on full screen for you.
Sounds good. Yeah, and oddly, they don't have it in any of the like app stores. Like you can't go on your phone and to the Apple or the Android app store and download it. You have to go to New Recruit. I think it's just newrecruit.eu.
Yeah.
You can go on your phone and then you can download it as an app there, though. And then same with your desktop. You can download it as an app, or you can just open it on your web browser. So they do have a ton of games. They've got a bunch of different systems.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar, Ninth Age, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have a ton of ones. There you go. So I've got Age of Sigmar, Ninth Age, 40K, and Old World, and then you can install a bunch more. But for Old World, homepage here, I've got my lists. I guess would be the most pertinent thing, and it does update between my phone and the desktop app, which is really handy. So I can go here. I can pull up any of my lists that I've got. Yeah, I do too. Yeah. Because a lot of times I'll be, parked somewhere for the kids, and I'll build a list, and I get home, plug and play.
Every race is there, Phil. What's going on?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. Anytime someone's just like, "This is really cool," I just fact check. Okay. Is that legal? And then I plug it in. Yeah, checks out, no errors. And then someone will be, this guy did this crazy maneuver. Build it. How many points was it? What does it work with the special rules? Checks out perfect. Yeah, like for my own peace of mind and theory building. So yeah, I've got lots of lists for lots of stuff. But say you're a new person, you could create a list here. So you could go create list, pick from the large amount here. Generally of alphabetical order. So if you have orcs and goblin tribes, would be the base orc and goblin set in the Ravening Hordes book. And then as the arcane journals come out, which are like the supplements we talked about last episode. So for orc and goblins, they have the nomadic Wa and the troll horde. So if you're going to be building an army of those particular parameters, you would choose that instead. And then the legacy armies are here as well. So if you're going to pick Skaven, you just pick plain old Skaven. And then your cost limits, whatever it would be. So 2,400 for our current event. And then, I'm usually setting with Thunder Rats if it was for Thunder Pony, and I was doing a theoretical Skaven one, and then it pops up here. It'll auto-propagate anything that has to be in your list. So a lot of factions will say like you need to have 5 or minimum Glade Guard for Wood Elves, or you need to have minimum, looks like your 220 packs of Clan Rats for Skaven. So it will auto-propagate those 2 minimum choices for you, so that you know that they're needed or required. And if you were to delete one, it would give you an error saying that you're short those units. And then as well, I do have an error up here. I believe that's because I don't have a general. So if I add using the add feature, I can go and I can give the options for my Grace here, and then I can turn them in by general, and then all of a sudden I don't have an error anymore for. Yeah. And then right now it's just telling me I believe it. So if I scale over it here, main force requires 440 points more of core, minimum 25%. And then so it shows me here I have 160 points out of 600 needed for core points. So yeah, it's pretty intuitive. It helps people. Yeah, for a new person that's trying to figure things out. And then if you want to export at the end, you'd go up to the top right corner, list options, and you can go export list. If you're doing, like, usually when I collect the big list, a list compilation, so I'll get everybody to send me a Word format file of a list, and then I put it into one huge Word document and I post it up. So yeah, you'd go text output, and then you could just click and drag or just copy to clipboard there. I usually do the pretty version, which comes up with like all your stats really nicely.
Oh, look at that.
All my spells. Yeah, it's super nice. Yeah, all my, like your stat line there, all your, if you have light armor, if you have any magic items, what they do. And then at the bottom, all of the special rules that are pertinent to your army. I think this is probably the premium version. This was a selection here. I don't know if this shows up if you have the base version. Yeah, I don't, because I paid for the premium. Oh, is it? Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, the pretty shows up in the base, but it's like an almost like AOS style meta card version of the game of your army list.
Oh, okay.
It's really
okay, gotcha. Okay. So yeah, so that's how you make your list. So if I were to go back to my list, I have all these ones here. I've got my Warriors of Chaos Prom, which is the one I submitted to Thunder Pony. This one here. Boom. There you go. I got my Chaos Lord, my Sorcerer Lord, got some Hounds, a bunch of Forsaken packs, Dragon Ogres, Shaggoth. Nice and beefy. And then if I wanted to submit it to a tournament, I go click up Tournament in the top right. There's my tournaments, all tournaments. You can search worldwide based off system, country, dates, that kind of stuff. Leagues you can run as well. But I want to go to my tournament. So I've got both here. And you can flag any tournament as like one that you're interested in, and then it should, or you can sign up to a tournament and then it'll pop up here in your My Tournaments. So I've got My Tournament, Thunder Pony. It's in CA, Canada. It's 20 out of 20 people right now. It's got the address on it. So if I click on it, it'll bring up more details on it. So my attorney, the first tab, is just telling me, yes, I've got my list submitted. So 2396 points. Warriors of Chaos by Philbo. I can add more lists if I want to. You can scrap lists and replace them up until a point. I believe Andrew, as the TO, has the power to lock lists in, and then he can show them once they're all available. So after everyone has submitted lists, he can auto have them where they're next to my name. It would have a link for my list, so anybody can click my and see my list, which is super helpful. Details is any of the actual details, when it starts, when it ends, the address. Like you put all this stuff in, so you can put in as much or as little information as you want to. And then we go over to players. I believe it's players starting like who signed up first. So we've got Dan Hintz, Andrew, Brad, Bill, Jacob, Josh, going down the line to all 20 people. And then also as well, you should be able to click on them and see their lists here as well if lists were submitting. And then we've got pairings. Once the game starts, Andrew can just launch it and pick a pairing style, and it'll auto do random pairings first round. And then as the game progresses and finishes, it'll be rankings and statistics you can look up for all the matches that were played. And then you put your own scores in after each round, which is really helpful. And then if I go over to Champions Call, the team one, if I were an aspiring captain and I wanted to launch a team, and please do, feel free, anybody. There are a lot of singles and doubles that are looking for teams to join. So if you want to make a team, there are a lot of guys and girls that would be happy to join up as singles and doubles. I've got here my journey. So I am actively captain in this one. So I've got right here, our team is Philip Harlos and Mino Lususo, sorry. So and then it has an error saying we're both missing army lists because I put just different parameters for submitting lists and showing lists than Andrew did. I believe that's all. So 0 to 4 lists submitted for our team. That's okay. We don't have to be submitted until a week out. My Little Pony shows up as our team. And then there's the 2 players here. And then one of us needs to be set as captain. So if I go become captain, I can, boop, there you go. I'm team captain. Yeah, I can add players, or they can just join up themselves through their new recruit profile. Nice. If we look at the teams, we've got My Little Pony with 2 people in it so far. Dude, Where's My Dragon? Another Calgary group. And they, I believe, have 8 dragons, I've heard, across 4 people. So I'm very excited to see what that shenanigans looks like. So we've got Brad Post, Chris Dancox, I think, here, Jordan Nail, and I'm sure I'll find out. And then it'll have a name, like Discord names linked as well if you want to link them. But yeah, we'd be able to click their things, see their list if we wanted to once the lists are submitted. And then we can download pairing cards as well. So that'll download and we can print off the army factions, and it'll have like their name on the card and their army faction. So if I sit down at the table across from you and you're, say what was it? Favorite 4? Say it's favorite 4 versus My Little Pony. We both sit down across from each other, and then I slide one of our cards over to you. Might be like, say, Russ Woodels, and you slide over Andy the Ogre to me. So we each have one of the other guy's cards. Then I'll pick 2 of my team cards that are left, and I will counter. I'll say, okay, Andy the Ogre, you pick out of these 2 which one you want to fight. And then you do the vice versa to me. You'd say, all right, Phil, which of these 2 lists that you offer up to me is Russ going to fight? And then we make the decision, take the rest of the cards back, and kind of rinse and repeat. It's based off of a system that's usually got 5 or 8 members, so it goes back and forth quite a bit more. So it's really just the first kind of 2 pairings. But if you have someone that's... Oh, go ahead.
Just some decision-making on
armies,
right?
You might build skew lists, like Andrew and I were talking, this morning, saying like, okay, we got like 2 aggressive lists and like 2 defensive lists, or like what style does Andrew want to play? Is he going like all in? And we probably want someone else that also has an aggressive list, and we can put both of those down so like they don't have a good choice, right? They're whatever they're sending our way for that initial pick. We've got 2 answers that are equally as like tough for them to decide, not one that's like a cakewalk and they're like, well, that's an easy pick kind of idea. So that's the pairing process. So that's a lot of fun. You can ask your captain, like, hey, just give me monsters because I want to kill monsters, or like, only give me, elves. T3 or nothing, boss. I want to throw some fireballs. So yeah, I love that component. We got the details thing here. Same idea, location, rough details. We both have players packs with more information if needed. Yeah, and basically we'll just see more teams sign up here. I know the Authentic Dungeon guys are in as well. You guys are in, so we're up to 5 there. I think the TOP guys, I expect they're going to have at least 1 or 2 teams more from Calgary coming. And then we'll probably have 2 mercenary teams, which is like kind of people joining up together they haven't met before, and they're playing together for the first time. So it's cool to see a lot of like long-term friendships, like guys that met at the first 9th Age team tournament that still play together now, like 6, 7, 8 years later, just because they had that one tournament together initially. Nice. And they've been like hanging out and playing other systems since. Yeah, super cool. Boom. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help with setting up teams or new recruit in general. Same with Andrew.
Yeah, for sure. We'll put links in the description and everything for the events and for the new recruit and whatnot. So anybody watching the episode can link into it and go right to the pages. So that'll be pretty easy to do. But no, that's awesome. Again, sounds like it's going to be a blast. Mission's going to be fun. Team event's going to be super fun. It'll be the first time I'm going to be involved in a team event like that.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I'll have to make sure I stomp pretty hard with the ogres, right? So,
sometimes you line up like a good match and like you're expected to do well. Yeah, and then you see your teammates like looking down the lineup tables and you're like,
yeah. I can see that.
I hope it's going better for you. with like ETC and WTC, I think they have 8-man teams and then a coach. So a lot of times you'll have your coach kind of coming down and like he'll pull you aside for like a small timeout and he'll be like, okay, so and so these 5 games are all going poorly. So like swing hard. I don't care if you lose all your points. If you have high risk to reward, take them because we need the potable ground. Yeah.
If I look down the table and Jason's wobbling and he's got a flagon of meat or something in his hand, I'll know what position we're in. And I'm like, okay,
exactly. Yeah, it's at the Legion. No so yeah, if you're a little bit half, if you look down and your 2 of you guys are half cut, you're like, okay, it's going to be that kind of weekend.
Yeah.
whether you win or lose, it's with your buddies. So
yeah, exactly.
It's perfect.
It'll be a lot of fun. No, that's all. And the great thing too is for myself, this will be a good chance to meet more of the community as well, because there's a lot of other players, right, that this is what they strictly play, or they've played 9th but they don't play other games, so it's nice to be involved into another community as well.
Or they played 6th or 7th, and like since 8 fell apart, and I've never met them before, right? And they like that was with the Authentic Dungeons guys. Like, I didn't realize there was a store that had like an active fantasy community. Didn't realize there was like 12 players that played there a lot. It's like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah, like you say, you're meeting all kinds of new people. Yeah.
Well, it's like Kessler. He played Bolt Action for a few times with us, and then all of a sudden I was like, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm playing Old World." I'm like, "No way!" Right?
Yeah.
It's cool.
100%.
It's cool to see, and it's good to.
That's actually thinking about that because Kessler dressed up to the first event we did, the doubles event, the first event that I did. The Authentic Dungeons had an initial event, and he and Mike both showed up at kind of like cosplay, and I thought that would be a cool idea to have as like an angle, like a team outfit is cool, like matching team jerseys is always fun, but like if you like had a little bit of extra points or whatever for either like a team, some kind of a team theme that you had, whether it's jerseys or bowling shirts or like costumes, like that would be easy points to throw. Yeah, because I was like Kessler had his like Midland, like his state troop outfit. That looks sweet. And then West Roderick at the last event had a full like Black Knight from Monty Python. It looked awesome. It's like chainmail, sword, everything. Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, that must have been
hot. That must have been hot. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be wearing it today, that's for sure.
No, you would not.
But Yeah, those are the great moments too, right? You get to see that kind of stuff. Or you know what? Maybe guys actually have banners for their teams, right? Just like standards, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. That'd be pretty
100%.
cool. But it's also neat to see
cool.
like the event runners. Sometimes they do that kind of stuff too. I remember being in LVO and the guys doing Legion. They're all dressed up. You know, a couple stormtroopers here and Imperial commanders kind of thing, right? So,
cool. Yeah,
it's pretty neat to see it. It's a lot, but even still, like even a banner or riggedy, you know, battle torn banner of some kind of
that's
empire
cool.
or whatever, you know. So it's pretty neat. Nice. No, like I said, it's gonna be
mascot or something. Yeah, all kinds of options.
Exactly. If you see me with a Viking helmet, you know, put a beard on, we're good. So
just be careful with those team events. Like for My Little Pony, for like the longest time, it was like, "Oh, this guy's going to be really tough to play against. Throw Andrew under the bus." you end up with one of those for a little while.
Yeah.
How you doing, Andy?
Not so Andrew was designated the Grinder Lord or the Grinder King. Yeah. Every time there was like a bad matchup, it was like Andrew's vampires. Nobody wants to play this crazy strong list. Throw an Andrew into it.
Thanks, guys. I didn't want to feel like I did anything all weekend.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's the linchpin of the arm of the team, Andrew. Yeah, it's the foundation.
Call that the heel.
So yeah, one last
wrestling villain. You pretty much would be, yeah.
Nice. So yeah, one last call out. Thunder Pony, July 20th, 21st, coming up here right away, and then we also have the Champions Call, October 5th and 6th, big team event. So check it out, jump in, you know, come visit. Play in the games, of course. We'd always love to have you guys come in and participate and whatnot and jump into the community. So I think Dan
at Red Claw has an event as well.
Yeah, so he's starting.
No date yet, but he said in the summer possibly.
So he's going to. I've been talking with him a bit. He's going to be starting a slow grow for Old World, which is really good. So any new players who are interested, like that's a perfect time to be playing, getting to learn the game, learning your armies, starting to collect your armies, that kind of thing. That's where I'm usually at on a Wednesday night, so I'm sure I'll be helping players as well, just like I do with most any game. So yeah, it's getting hype. A lot of people are getting interested. Seen a lot of armies out there being put out. You know, some people are moving armies, but they're getting picked up really quick. So people are playing out there somewhere and just trying to make a community, you know, greater Edmonton area and whatnot. Getting people, a few of the stores are starting to pick it up and starting to roll with it, right? So we should see more events happening. Hopefully maybe in November, I might be trying to host one myself. And
nice. Right on.
I've got the gears are going, you know, the Skaven are running, but I even thought of doing like a kind of like a campaign, a map-based campaign. I thought would be pretty cool for the Old World, just for shits and gigs, right?
You should talk with Andrew. So Andrew was talking about the Mighty Empire tiles. Yeah, he had some.
Yeah, I've got
some
the Mighty Empire tiles set with a ton of the expansion tiles. It just like getting the Thunder Pony event up and running, and then getting ready for GCC. And now that it's summer for me, work-wise, is just haven't had the time. But yeah, I've got the rules and the tiles, and I've been wanting to put it all together, and then just run like a small campaign. The issue is like it's kind of based on like 8 people. I was like, hey, if people wanted to play, would anyone be interested? And it was like 20-something people were like, I'd be down for this, and it's just like. Okay.
Yeah, that's where either you can like have multiple campaigns going where you split kind of the teams and then have, you know, a couple organizers so that they can bounce back and forth of you know, helping each other out, or even if you are going to do a large scale one, then maybe there's a secondary person helping out or third person helping out kind of thing. But yeah,
well, it's I don't know if you've ever played Mighty Empires, but it's like when you choose your benefit for the week, it's 8. There's like 8 benefits, and then like as they choose, it gets removed, right? So it's the guy who's in the worst position gets to choose first, and then it goes back down the list. Things like that. It's kind of like Triumph and Treachery pulling active cards and stuff like that. So it's kind of limited, so it'd have to be like a world of 8 and then a world of 8 kind of thing.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, there's different ways you can spin things, but I'll have to take a look, see if I can find mechanics to it and stuff like that. But never know. Yeah, down in the future, plan something out, do stuff like that. Sounds pretty cool. But again, thanks guys for joining me on the episode. This is super informative, super awesome. Glad to have you guys. Of course, I'll have you guys back throughout the year and whatnot as well, after events and anything else coming up. So, please share any ideas or stuff about the gaming or events or whatever days you guys are having in, for games and hobby days like Phil has done before, or, we're having a meetup on a Sunday or something. I love seeing that stuff. I always try to be part of it. So, again, thank you very much for being on the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
So, and
thanks for having us. Yeah,
no problem.
Thanks for having us.
Always. And for everybody out there, I hope this gave you some good information about the events coming, and hopefully you will get hooked like I did and get into these events and start playing and just showing off your armies and just being part of the community, right? Great community to get into. We all have that love for fantasy and whatnot. So now's the time. We'll just wait for those dwarves to come out though. So, but yeah, if you guys like the episode,
they just got pulled off the AOS web store, so it should be soon.
There you go.
I think that's usually like a good indicator that they're moving into the old world territories.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. So yeah, again, thanks everybody for checking out the episode, for listening. Give us a like, subscribe, all that jazz. Check out our socials. Tons of events happening throughout the rest of the year. We do have our social, I believe, in November. So if you guys want to come out to it, we usually have like supper and whatnot with drinks, share a whole bunch of gamers just having a night of drinks and having fun and whatnot. We are also having I guess it's kind of like a free play day event kind of thing happening. So we're going to be renting the hall. Guys come with their games or whatever. So it'd probably be a great time to kind of advertise Old World and whatnot too. I'll probably set up a table, have my stuff, maybe 2 of my armies set up. And if guys want to try it out, they're there to play, right? So stuff like that. I'll hit you guys up when we're having it. See if you guys are interested. Swing by, have a beer, all that stuff, right? So, so everybody out there,
that'd be fun.
Warm up those scatter dice, get those rerolls on the artillery dice kind of thing. Put those armies on the table and just keep on playing. And we'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.
Did you plug the Patreon? We need to plug the Patreon.